Can GitHub Copilot code a website in less than a day? This was my question, and it gave me the bright idea to make a website. The short answer is yes, it can. And the long answer is, well, it's this video. First, I began deciding what I wanted my website to be.
It's all ogre now.
Eventually, I settled on doing a simple one-pager that would represent me and my YouTube channel, collating all my social links and anything else I wanted to link on there. For my tech stack, because this was just a purely front-end website, I went with Next.js, Tailwind, VS Code as my IDE, and of course, GitHub Copilot as my AI agent. But before I started on my site, I hashed out a design for mobile and desktop on Canva. I came up with something sleek that fits in with my channel, and also it's more on the educational vibe than the techie vibe, because I think that's what my channel gives off in terms of vibes. I've said vibes too many times now. So looking at the design, I have a simple nav bar with myapaya.com and then some social links and also links to different sections. I also have this big hero section, which I'm gonna make a rolling looping video with a little bit of an overlay of a short introduction. Then I wanted a section of info cards that would hold information of what value I bring to you. This would include my YouTube channel, my free API guide that came out not so long ago, and also potential future workshops I can offer, and also my Discord community. Then I'd have a little about me section, and finally a section for my popular videos presented in a simple carousel. Now I actually had a plan. It was time to set up my project. It was fairly straightforward. I just created a GitHub repo, then I made a Next.js with Tailwind project, and I also installed the extension for GitHub Copilot. So without barely touching the code, I had my first interactions with GitHub Copilot. I actually had an idea to drag in a PNG of my design that I mocked up in Canva and just add it to the chat. And then I have to preface this by saying I'm not an expert prompter, so I just talk to Copilot like anyone would with no experience or expertise. And I told Copilot in agent mode that I want a website with XYZ sections. And since we were using Tailwind, I told it that I wanted to go with a mobile first approach. And I also want to go through it step by step. This way I had a bit more control rather than having a whole page of code vomit and then having to deal with weird unwanted stuff, and it'd just be harder to work with. So it spat out a few headers for the sections that I had stated, and then it asked me about Tailwind config. This was because I mentioned I want to set up a color palette, and it already got a little bit stuck here. I think it started using an old version way of setting up the Tailwind config, so I had to give it some context, go into the docs and show it how it's done, and then ask it to base the color palette off the PNG that I gave it before. And just like that, we made it past the first hurdle. And I'm glad, because it wasn't some long back and forth like,
no, this is how you set up the Tailwind config.
Great, I've done it the old way again and again.
No, please do it this way.
Great, I've added green into your color palette.
it wasn't anything like that. It was just, yeah, I've done it and it works, and that was great. So anyway, it was looking positive from here. Then I went on to the kind of first step, which was the nav bar, and I explained what Google fonts I wanted, and I was pretty impressed already because I hadn't really given it any design, you know, what do you call it? Direction. I hadn't given it any design direction, and it had already been going off the PNG that I had uploaded first, which was really useful because we could get it like looking okay pretty quickly. Then I was pretty quickly able to get some text overlaid on the hero section, which was just a black box as a placeholder for now, and then also establish that on mobile view there should be a hamburger menu which you can click on and then see the links and be able to close. Moving on to the next section, I wanted the info card components done. I said to Copilot I would want an icon, a title, description, and a link of some sort at the end, some kind of actionable link. I kind of described I wanted rounded corners and a shadow when you hover over it, and I was really impressed by what it did with my information, because this was pretty much exactly what I was after. I got something looking really good, and also I have to mention that this was probably less than an hour into working on this. The About Me section was pretty straightforward. It just went off the design I had given it before and styled it pretty much how I wanted it. I feel like it was just getting it, you know. Now, the video card component was a little bit of a different story to everything else, because this was the trickiest thing to get right with Copilot. I did have to keep coming back to it and tweaking it. But to be fair, the first try that it did on mobile view was actually fine. And Copilot even rickrolled me. I got rickrolled by Copilot. But after about 10 years of going back and telling it, no, do this, no, do that, I want this. I even gave it other examples from carousels I had seen. It finally gave me something that actually looked good. So once we got it working for both desktop and mobile, I gave it a bunch of my links to replace with the placeholders and made sure that they were all working and linked properly. And the site was pretty much done. Any changes after this was just colors, adding any effects that I wanted, taking things that I didn't like away, or, you know, polishing pretty much. And in total, I don't think this took me more than a few hours to complete. And I was so impressed, but that's not important right now, because what's important is what you think about the final result. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and the site is live right now, so you can go check it out and let me know what you think. I have to say, I'm not the best at front-end development in terms of styling with CSS or, you know, centering a div, but I'm really happy that I can achieve a decently high level using Copilot. This was really fun to do, so let me know if you enjoyed this project style video, and I would be so excited to do more of these. If you haven't tried GitHub Copilot yet, I would recommend it. It's just really fun to experiment with and see what you can do with it. And if you're a beginner software developer, I have loads of bite-sized explainer videos, so check them out. But other than that, I'll see you next time. I'm trying to Flicky.